Welcome to the next lesson. In the previous part, we created our secret key, and now it's time to create a very simple app or code that can communicate with ChatGPT and send the prompt to ChatGPT, receive the response, and show it to us, okay? Now, we can use different programming languages to communicate with ChatGPT API, but in this example, I'm going to show how you can do this using Python, okay? It's very simple. You can tell ChatGPT how to do this, or ChatGPT can write the codes for you, so you can just connect with the API. So for the first step, I'm going to come to ChatGPT and I'm going to write down I mentioned that I want to write some codes in Python that communicate with ChatGPT API and show the response inside the terminal of VS Code. For now, we will only use VS Code and we will use the terminal. First of all, before I continue, I created a folder here, okay, for -GPT-API. I'm going to open it inside VS Code, okay. Let's click on Open Folder. Okay, AI course, and here's my folder, and it is empty. I'm just gonna open it, okay, and on the next steps that we have, and based on the codes that GPT provide to us, we'll add those codes here, okay. Then I mentioned that I need your help to show me the steps and write all the required codes so the system works, okay. So let's press enter and wait for the response. All right, the response is ready. Okay, it provided code to us and some explanation. The first step is to install the necessary Python libraries. We'll need to install request library, okay? And in order to install it, we have to copy this code inside our terminal. Either we can come here, copy it, and open terminal in our VS Code, okay, new terminal, and paste the code here, or we can come here to our terminal like this and paste the code here. Okay, let me make it bigger. Paste the code here. Both of them works as well. So I'm gonna try it here. I already have this package, this library on my computer. So when I try to install it, it shows me that I already have this library. Okay, so the next step is to get our OpenAI API key. Okay, we created this in the previous lesson. Okay, and the next step after that is to write our Python script. Okay, so here ChatGPT created a Python script for us. Okay, that based on this code, it will communicate to ChatGPT, and it will ask a question from ChatGPT and write the response printed inside our terminal. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this code. Okay, let's see if we have to select a specific name for it. Here it is. Okay, we have to save this script, okay, inside file. For this is an example name, chatgpt.py. So let's come here and create it. Let me close the terminal, and let's close this. Let's zoom in a little, and we have to come here and copy the code that ChatGPT wrote for us. Okay, and if I scroll up, okay, here is the URL. Here is the part that we need to replace it with our API key. So I'm gonna jump into OpenAI API. Now I lost this code. Okay, so I'm gonna remove it. Okay, revoke the key, and I'm going to create a new one. Okay, AI course V2. I'm gonna copy this code, and I'm gonna come here and paste it. Okay, save this code, and the way it works is that here we have we are storing our API key inside a variable, Then there's a function that will communicate with ChatGPT, okay, with the OpenAI website. And here we have the number of tokens, the maximum number of tokens. And if we come here, if we read the text that ChatGPT provided here, it mentioned that the max number of tokens right now is 100, okay? So it's set to 100 right now, okay? And let me see what else do we have here. All right, so after that we will have another function, okay, which this is the main function that will receive our prompt, okay? Will get the prompt from us, then send it to ChatGPT, receive the response from ChatGPT 4, and then print that response inside the terminal, okay? So I think everything is fine, and all we need to do is to click on play. Now it asks us for our prompt, okay? And let's write something. Who was Cyrus the Great, okay? When I press enter, it will take a couple of seconds to communicate with ChatGPT and it will come back to us. Okay, now here we have an error. Okay, now the easiest way to fix this is to just copy what we see inside the console. Okay, after we wrote our prompt and come here and tell ChatGPT that, all right, this is the problem that we faced after we wrote exactly what you told us to. All right, I mentioned that I followed all the steps that you mentioned and I faced an error for the first try. And then I wrote down error colon and then I paste the error. Okay, so I'm gonna provide this to ChatGPT and let ChatGPT to figure out what's the issue. All right, it changed the code. Okay, and I'm gonna copy from the first function because I don't want to change the API key. Right, I'm gonna copy this part and come back to my code. Close the terminal and let's replace all of this code until here. Okay, so we can keep our API key. Made some changes inside the code so it works better. Let's try again. Right, we faced another error. I think this error is caused by the engine that we are using. Let's paste this error inside ChatGPT and let ChatGPT fix it again. Okay, I mentioned that now I faced another error after the previous changes you suggested. Again, I provided the error to ChatGPT and ChatGPT tried to fix it again. All right, it wrote the code again, but inside the code, it mentioned that it is using a specific engine of ChatGPT. Let me try to find it. Right here it is, okay, and the notes it is telling us that we have to replace this with the ID of GPT-4, okay? So if we come to OpenAI website, and if we come to rate limits, okay, here we have the ID for a specific engine, okay? So right now, if we come here, it is using Text DaVinci 003, okay? If we come here, we must have it somewhere. So this is DaVinci. This is text. All right, it is using this version, okay? And it has a limit of 250,000 tokens. So let's come here. Let's try and see if this works. And if it works, then we'll change it to GPT-4. So let's copy the code, close the terminal. Okay. And oh, I replaced it with all the codes that we had. So we only have to replace the function. So I'm going to save it. Let's run the code again. who was Cyrus the Great? Okay, let's see if we face error again or not. I'm showing you um, this way, okay, because I want you to learn how you can fix this, okay? Not all people will use Python or will use this system, okay? I want you to learn how this system works so you can overcome the challenges that you face along the way. So as you can see, it worked now, right? So it mentioned that Cyrus the Great. Here's the response. I asked the question, who was Cyrus the Great? And then here is the response. Cyrus the Great was the founder of Achaemenid Empire, okay, the first Persian Empire, and the first truly multicultural empire, and etc. Okay, so here is the response. Okay, so right now we are using ChatGPT API to communicate with our code, okay, and show us the response. Now, one thing let me tell you, um, if you go to the pricings, okay, the pricing of older versions are much cheaper. So for example, if you use GPT-4, it will cost much more, okay? So you have to be aware of that, okay? And you can check that when you come to usage, okay? As I said, right now it has some problem on their website and it's not showing me, okay? But anyway, here it will show you, for example, on this date you have used, for example, $1, $2, 10 cents, etc. Okay, based on your usage, it will cost you. So that was all about the ChatGPT API, the basics of it. And as we go forward, we will learn more about it. I will show you different strategy of how you can use it and how I used it on my own project. Okay, on the next lesson, we will try and change this DaVinci 3 to GPT-4. Okay, so that was all about this lesson. Let's go for the next part.